So, Dawn,
So, Jacob.
what gear do you use?
Oh, that's a long list.
Start from the very beginning. I want to know it all because everybody wants to know about gear.
All right. So, I started. Well, first off, I started with some of my dad's old cameras.
I'm already bored. I'm sorry, continue.
But when I started doing photography for myself, the first camera I bought was a Nikon D3300, I think. And everyone always asks, like, well, why did you choose Nikon? You know, it's a very technical decision. I went to Best Buy on Black Friday.
That one.
And lo and behold, the Nikon had a better deal than the Canon. So that's how we ended up with a Nikon camera. Shot with that for a while. Added new lenses, obviously, trying to, like, the D3300 was not the, like, epitome of high quality.
Well, you know it's good because of how many numbers are in it.
Yeah, the more digits in that number, the better, surely. And shot with that, and some.
Did you do paid gigs with it?
Young Nuo flashes, however you pronounce that. I did do paid gigs with it, and I, to this day, apologize to those families.
You, I assume, have paid them back.
Well, they keep hiring me.
Okay.
And I'm like, I promise it's going to be better than the last time. And they're like, but we loved those pictures. I'm like, okay.
We love the selective color, and they're all out of focus, and it was ahead of your time.
Yes, yeah. So what did you start with?
I started with kind of the same thing, but I started with Canon. I got a Rebel. In fact, my wife, then girlfriend at the time, bought me a Rebel because I was going to get back into photography when I decided, you know, I should probably do something with my life. Mm-hmm. And so I got a Rebel and, you know, whatever kit lens came with it. And then I literally went from that to like, okay, I'm going to be a big boy, and just bought a 5D Mark II.
Oh my gosh.
I just went like, and then, yeah, so I shot with that for a few years with paid gigs. I never shot anything with the Rebel paid. I think I shot like maybe one of my, at the time, he wasn't my brother-in-law yet, but I shot his wedding for free. And maybe I shot it with the Rebel, but maybe I had the 5D. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
the jobs I did with the 3300, it was like family portrait, or the one couple who I keep getting hired by, very close friends of mine, and they knew I was brand new.
Yeah.
And that was their engagement pictures, which hurts a little bit.
We're going to post it. We should be seeing them on the screen right now.
But they love them, and they know that I am sorry.
So I then, like I said, I did the Canon, and then the place we both worked at shot Canon for a little bit, and then they switched to Nikon. And I had never gathered enough gear to, even though I had a 5D Mark II, to like, at that point there was a 5D Mark III, almost a 5D Mark IV. So I didn't have enough gear to like say I'm sticking with Canon. It was just like, that's what it. And then I got really into Nikon because that's what I was shooting with every day, and I felt comfortable. So I went a full switch into Nikon.
Yeah. I luckily didn't have to do a big switch early on because I had the 3300. Then I fairly quickly went up to the D600. Like, I went as far as my lenses could go in helping me out, and realized, like, I need a full frame camera. So went to the D600, and then I feel like shortly after that, the D750. And I had the D750s for a long time. And then at work, we were using the 800s and the 810s.
And then eventually the 850s.
Yes, but that came. There was a good, like, 5 or 6 years on the 800 and the 810.
It's all the same to me.
At least it felt like it.
Yeah. So then I had, like I said, a full kit of Nikon all the way up until
2
years ago, 2022, when we both, independent of each other, but kind of like we had been talking about it, we both just made a drastic switch to
Fujifilm.
We are not sponsored.
Yeah, well, we both I think you got your X-T3 first.
Yes, and that was more just a like
a
discovery. I love the retro look, and like I'm gonna take this on my vacations.
Do I have it up here? I was right here.
Yeah, an XT2 was my first one.
Oh, yeah. So you got that, and then one of our other friends had gotten an XT2.
Yeah.
And then I really wanted one, and so I had an XT3. And these were just like we always talked about like how it was just so much more fun.
Yeah, it made photography
doing
fun again.
Photography with this and like having all the analog dials and like making you think, you had to think differently, right? Because it was like all new muscle memory and
this may sound dumb at the time, but our DSLRs with Nikon, they were still mirrored cameras. So like when all of a sudden I could see my exposure change inside.
It was pretty fantastic.
Now this is 2022. I could have been doing this for like 5 years.
Yeah.
But for us, it was like, this is the whole new world.
Yeah. Well, when I decided to leave Nikon and go to Fuji, it was because I always had two D750s in my kit. This is when I was like really full-time photographer. Like from that point forward,
You're not a full-time photographer anymore?
No. Like when I had the D3300 and the D600, it was just like a hobby, a side gig kind of thing. But like by the time I was doing photography full-time as my only employment, I had two D750s in my kit.
You gotta.
And, I had a shutter die on a wedding, in the middle of the wedding. I took a picture, and half the picture was black, and the other half of the picture was normal, and I was like, this looks bad. And so I had to send that out, and we shoot really high volume.
We do.
So hitting several 100,000 photos is
easy.
Very easy.
Very easy.
Very easy. And so I burned through one shutter, got it fully replaced, and I was keeping an eye on my shutter count, and I knew it was time to replace the other shutter, and I was like, do I replace another shutter? Do I upgrade to the D780? Having worked with the 800, 810, 850, like, I didn't love those cameras.
The 750 always felt like, man, did they nail it?
Yes.
And then when the 800 was fine, but it felt like, no, the 800 was bad, but they kept trying to like 810, 850, like they kept trying to fix it, but it never...
It was always like, too much power, too many megapixels,
But I couldn't focus.
but nothing was in focus. And
sorry, Nikon people.
It wasn't. I liked my D750 better. It was like the perfect sweet spot.
It was.
So if I was gonna get a new camera, it was gonna be a 780. Because at this point, how many lenses? I probably had 6 or 7 lenses for Nikon.
Yep.
But Nikon had already announced that they weren't continuing with their DSLR line beyond what was already out. And then I was like, why am I going to invest now in a dead technology?
Yeah, because if you went to mirrorless, you were buying a full new kit. We have a friend who is still like has their DSLR lenses but has a mirrorless, and they have the adapter, and they have like normal lenses that are when they put the adapter on, it feels like they're shooting, wow, is that a 600? No, it's a 24. Oh, okay.
And I just was very adamant I did not want to shoot with an adapter. I know that you can, but I just, in my gut, felt like there's no way it was going to be as good as if you were shooting with a lens meant for the mirrorless camera. So it wasn't even like an easy no-brainer, hey, let's go to Nikon and I can still use all my lenses, because I didn't want to I didn't want to do that. I was going to have to buy all new lenses anyway, and I already knew how much I love Fuji from having the X-T3 and just using this as like my for fun personal camera.
And my thing though is like, I didn't want, when I see this, especially the X-T3, X-T4, X-T5, I see this still as fun, and I really didn't want this to be work camera. Because I don't know about you guys, but I see work camera and I see play camera. And I don't touch work camera unless money's involved.
Right.
It stays in my bag. It just, because it's work. This is fun. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to switch until they actually finally made the XH2, where I'm like, okay, this is a work camera.
Yep.
This looks like a DSLR. It handles like a DSLR.
It has that big grip.
Yeah, they got rid of all the buttons. So like, I can be Fuji and be work, and then still then play.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal for me. So yeah, that's where, and we pretty much switched at the same time.
Yeah, it was
without
towards the
really
end of
like
2022.
talking about it. Like we had joked about it, and then one day we're like, you, me, me, you.
Yeah. Let me tell you how great it is though when we shoot jobs together. Like we always shoot the same anyway.
Yeah.
Like
our exposures are always like
they're within a third of a stop of each other at all times
without saying anything.
Yeah. But now with the Fuji, both having the XH2, like I literally, as I'm editing, cannot tell the difference between our photos, and it's fantastic.
And a lot of people are they like, oh, but it's it's not full frame.
No, it's not.
But I mean, we've shot hundreds of jobs at this point, and not a single client has ever complained about pixel size or blowing it up.
Nope. I mean, I've done 36 by 24 prints off of it,
just fine.
and it's great.
It's still 40 megapixels.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's ridiculous about it.
Well, and the other thing that I really liked, well, okay, so two things. One, buying a full kit for Fuji was more affordable than buying a full kit with Nikon mirrorless.
Yep.
Okay, make that three things. Two, Nikon was brand new at mirrorless at the time, and we hadn't been hearing great things.
I used a couple, and it was...
Oh, yeah, you did.
It was rough.
Ugh.
It was real bad.
Yeah, so I didn't want to go to it for that. And then,
I'm sure they're better.
I'm sure this is this like first iteration.
Yeah.
Now I forgot what my third point was.
Heaviness was big for me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So, I mean, we used to take the D800s with battery grips, like, all over your body, and, 7200, it was 15 pounds of gear on your back, and, again, 1,000 weddings, my back was not happy anymore. And the fact that this was just...
I know, a little baby. Well, I remembered what I was going to say. I was going to say the other thing that I really loved about Fujifilm is how long they continue updating firmware on a body. So most camera companies, it's like, oh, you want these new features, they're in the new camera. But this X-T3, I've probably had for 5 years.
Yeah, easily.
And it's still getting firmware updates. It's still getting new features.
I could be wrong, but I think I remember on the X-T2, the first one I had, where one of the updates, they just added the face detection. They're like, yeah, we figured it out, put it on there.
Yeah, they added it to this.
For free.
This has new film simulations. It has the improved autofocus tracking. So to know that I'm investing in something that's only ever going to get better.
Yeah. And if you've never seen a Fuji, I know this is dumb, but if you've never seen a Fujifilm JPEG at a camera.
Oh my gosh.
So I actually almost, unless we really need to it, personally, I'll shoot raw JPEG, because sometimes if I nail the JPEG, I can't even get the raw to it.
Nope.
The JPEG is so pretty.
Yeah, one of the companies we freelance for, I shoot RAW on one card, JPEG on the other card, because we always deliver JPEGs to the company, and then they handle it from there. And I used to shoot RAW, put it into Lightroom, fix it up a tiny bit, make sure it looked good, and then export, and then upload it. Well, my JPEGs now look so good that
It's true.
I just, sometimes, when I'm really lazy,
Just set them up.
Pop the card in the card reader, upload directly. Or the other thing I really like too is having the JPEGs to do sneak peeks. So I'll say goodbye to whoever I just photographed and then sit in my car and download a few JPEGs to my phone and send it to them immediately. And I just know that they're going to look pretty polished.
And I've
already.
done, same idea, but I have the Fujifilm printer.
Oh,
And I give them the little Polaroid prints. I have the wide one.
I have this one.
So I literally just, the JPEGs down to the phone, into the app, and then I push play, and I did that for a wedding a couple months ago, where here's all your photos, here's 5 sneak peeks, and I love it because it's tangible.
I know.
I still deliver the sneak peeks a couple of days,
Yeah,
same
digitally.
ones, digitally.
Yeah.
But just to have that right then and there.
Yeah, that was the whole reason I bought the Instax Mini Evo, was because I got it because it was cute, but mostly I got it because I knew I would just be printing from my big camera or my phone straight through it. It is a fun keepsake for people. Woo.
So I mean, you can bash all you want, but we've shot 2,000 weddings between the two of us.
Yeah.
Had zero problems. It's not, it's not. You shouldn't use it for sports. If you're shooting the Olympics, you're not going to use this. If you need extreme low light, still not your camera. But
I mean, it's not perfect.
No.
But I don't think any camera is, and I think every camera has its strengths and weaknesses. And again, with the volume that we shoot, we can learn very quickly what it's good at and what it isn't, and we know how to compensate for the things it's not great at. So let's talk a little. I was going to talk about the LED light on our speed lights now, but let's talk a little bit about your kind of journey in lighting.
So I just had my favorite with the Canon. I just got the cheap on-camera flash, whatever that one was. You know how it's stubby? It's not even the full length one. It's this big.
The little boy.
You can't even shoot it off. It's just on there. And that's what I used for a lot, because when I had the Rebel, like I said, I didn't really shoot anything. And then when I switched to Nikon, I was in the mode of Disney at the time was using these Q flashes, which are these giant like bulb flashes with a battery that's about 30 pounds.
And you had to have like a special thing to clip onto your light stand to clip the battery pack into, and then you're trying to walk around.
And there's so many wires, like it looks like a bomb. It looks like, and then with Pocket Wizards, where you would fire that, and then eventually we switched to just using Nikon flashes, Nikon speed lights. And still though with a Pocket Wizard, we have a main one and then a Pocket Wizard, and then you'd have another one. And the problem was too is like the cord always came out or never was right.
You would constantly be jiggling it, and then once you found one that worked, you would like stash it away.
Even those ones that had the screw in it, remember, that like would screw in. And then of course, I can't even, those days where like you would take a photo and you had to run over there and change the power.
Change the power.
And then run back and click, one more, and run back while trying to be cool and calm and collective.
And, you're trying to photograph the family, and sometimes if you're out in bright sun, you can't tell if your light has fired or not.
Correct.
So you're counting on your assistant to be paying attention that your light's not firing, and then, like, tell you that it's not firing.
And then I've also used Alien Bees.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh, those were even worse. Those vagabond batteries we used to
those
lug
were even
around.
Bigger. This big. They were like, if you leave them on, they're going to like catch on fire, so be cool with them. And we use those for group photos at like noon, 3 o'clock in full sun. We'd have like 16 alien bees. And you could hear the pop from the entire...
I know. You were like afraid to put it up to full power because it literally sounded like it was going to explode.
But, so yeah, that was my journey until we found, obviously, Godox, which is what we both currently use to this day.
Yep, I had a very similar journey, except I threw in some Young Now, Young, however you pronounce it. Had some of those in the middle before I switched to, I guess I had like a Godox, I think it was a Godox 360. That might have been my first one, but it still had an external battery pack that you had to like clip on. It was still very clunky, but I think that was my first
Godox.
First step into it, yeah. But now...
But when Godox appeared, especially with the 200s, they were long, skinny, light, battery powered, and could huge pop. And again, for what we did, they were portable and they could have the power. And then I know at the time, but when Godox came out, and all of a sudden with the triggers, I'd be like, I can change my power from right here.
Yeah, that was the game changer.
Holy nuts!
Yeah, being able to control the power from the trigger or from the speed light that you had on your camera. And be able to control multiple lights with different power levels. Yeah. And the 200s too, I do like that they have the two different heads. So like the bulb, that
actual flash bulb.
Yeah, the actual flash bulb. I still use that for anything like headshots, anything where I'm using like a big softbox and I want the light to like fill it as much as possible. But a lot of what we do is so run and gun that it's nicer to have like the more durable version.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, too, like, we've used ProPhoto as well for some higher end stuff, and ProPhoto is great. It's the top, and it's great. But Godox can fall on the ground and splatter in a million pieces, and I only have to pay $200 to get a new one.
Or sometimes they just
keep working.
And like plastic pieces are hanging off it, and it still works.
And again, after 1,000 weddings, I've probably gone through 3 of them. Like I have 2. I've probably gone through. I have one that's broken, so I've bought 3. They have survived. I don't have any misses. If I do, rarely. Color is never an issue. I know people are like, well, a ProPhoto has the best color. I mean, obviously we do everything manual, so as long as I'm controlling that, I've had 0 issues of weird colors.
Yeah. The only time I have weird color is when my mag sphere is too old.
Oh, that's true. And brown.
Turned yellow. And then I'm getting a color cast. So that was another big kind of jump in our photography world, was when MagMod started releasing the mag sphere, the mag gels. I
remember at PPA in Atlanta, 2016, January. That's when we first saw them. And I was just like, what is this? And I bought the whole set there. And I literally went back and shot a wedding with them. And it changed everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, I still have my like original set. I haven't bought any of the new like the what was it? The discs that had the designs.
The new
in
ones
it.
are nice, so you don't have to put them in the sleeve.
Yeah.
You just go,
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But I still have all of mine, and I
still
still
work.
have all my gel holders. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep going. But I I remember when I started in like 2014, still assisting people who were carrying around like a folder of colored gels.
and then taping them sloppily
Yes.
to the end of the Q flash.
Yeah. So I mean that was a big change. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of the sweet spot of the 8200 with the mag mod is what kind of changed.
And we
the
both.
game.
I mean, I have a 600. You have a 600. So we've bought a lot of the Godox stuff. I love the new Godox speed light that actually has an LED light built in, which we use all the time for receptions to grab focus, just to make sure.
Yep.
Because it was just nice to all of a sudden be like, we can turn it on with one button, get the shot, and then usually it gets people to be like,
Yeah, because they think it's like with a videographer who has a video light on during the dancing, they know where the camera is, so it kind of like identifies where you are. They're looking, and actually I'm so glad I have that, because 2 weeks ago, my wedding, they turned off every single overhead light. The only lighting in the whole room were the uplights, and then the lights from the DJ booth. But if I stood on the same side as the DJ, the view was like just garbage, because they didn't have uplights in that direction. So it would have just been like a dark hole. So I had to face the DJ booths to still get the uplighting in the picture, so I had something. But there was literally no lights on the people's faces. Nothing at all.
Yeah, and no camera in the world's gonna pick that up.
Oh, and my other favorite thing about the 8200 is that you can buy that LED attachment.
Yeah.
So you can swap out the head on the front with this LED head, which honestly, it's not quite enough to only shoot with, but it has saved my butt in different situations. So
yeah, like I said, it's been
a good little
yeah.
tool.
Like once we've hit this point, like. And maybe we're just getting old, but like I'm not a super gear guy. Like when people come up to me like, "What you got?" I don't care. I don't care what you have as a photographers. Like I'll talk about it, but it's just a tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm very happy with where I'm at now. Like I don't need to change. Maybe that's just getting older. Like I'm never changing.
Right.
I got what I want. If something for me to change, it needs to help me be better, quicker, faster, efficient, not just cool.
Right. Like a lot of people have been talking to me about like new Magmod stuff or new lights that are coming out, and I'm like the Godox 100s and the 300s. I'm like, but my 200s are fine.
It works. When I need it full power, it works. When I don't,
right.
Like I don't need any more power. And if I do have a 600, but I use that for like headshots and things like.
Yeah. More stationary things.
Yeah.
You're not terrified to bring around a giant light. Yeah.
So, but I don't know, just gear's not a big thing anymore, but I really like what we have now. And again, we don't plan any of this, but we're basically the same human when it comes to photography, so we have the same gear for some reason.
And we're like the only ones we know that shoot professionally with Fujifilm, like only people we know in person.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I mean, it's a pretty even split on Canon, Nikon, and Sony.
Yeah.
And I do know, like, the friends of ours who've switched from Nikon to Sony, their autofocus is definitely like their calling, right? So in a matchup, they're going to have better autofocus, but our autofocus does what we need it to do for what we need it to do.
I've had no more issues than any other camera ever, like capturing photos, and the success rate is the same as all other cameras, and my bag doesn't hurt anymore.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that is true. Someone was teasing me because I have a rolling bag for all of my equipment, and they were like teasing me for how much gear I was dragging around on a wedding day, and I was like, this is half as much as it used to be, because I used to have just my camera gear in this.
Yeah.
And then all of my lighting and accessories were in a completely separate bag, and now like 2 camera bodies, 6 lenses, I can fit my 200s in there if I wanted to, a speed light, it's all batteries, everything's all in one carry-on size rolling bag, so that's pretty nice.
Everyone do your thing. I mean, sure, everyone's going to say full frame is better, and it probably is in terms of marketing, or, you need a 100 megapixel
fashion
side of Empire State Building you're going to do, sure.
Yeah.
But for what we're doing?
No. We don't even, I don't know what size files you deliver, but for, I would say 95% of my jobs, I'm not delivering the full resolution of what I photographed anyway, because it's too much for most people to manage that much data.
You forget how little people, like, you're going to deliver 1,500 images that they're just going to sit in a hard drive on the desktop.
Right.
They don't need them.
Yeah, they're not going to have room for it.
I did, and we're going to get into this later, but I did a commercial shoot, like an actual commercial shoot with this. No notes.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it.
All right.
So what did you shoot last week?
So to bring that up, I did it was an actual commercial for a hospital chain here in Orlando. And so they were doing a full video shoot, and it was a real story about a family who had overcome disease. And so it was kind of their journey that they went through the hospital system and the doctor that cured them. Mm-hmm. And it was the real doctor, the real family. They had rented a house in downtown Orlando, and we just did a bunch of, like, it was a typical kind of commercial. We see the kids were playing in the pool. They did an interview with the parents. Mm-hmm. They did some scenes of, like, the parents kind of worrying over a dinner table and things like that.
Yeah.
And then we interviewed the doctor. And so the video shoot was the primary. I was the BTS, still photographer on set. Mm-hmm. I was to be quiet, because it was a real,
And you could be quiet.
Zero, put it on electronic shutter. I was just a mouse running around. So really my job was to capture, like, crew getting ready, BTS, and then some shots while filming, because of course they lit it. No flash. Mm-hmm. So it was all professionally lit. I mean, it was legit. It was union. There was craft services. It was good.
We could do a whole episode talking about how little craft services we
No, but this was a union gig, so everything was legit, right? We actually had, call times and break times. And, so anyway, so like I was just kind of shooting some close-ups of them, like, interviewing each other. And then, I did some family portraits of the family. Like, we did an outside shot. So then I did an actual with the light and made it look good. So I had a little moments here and there. When we went to the hospital on day 2, it was a 2-day shoot. We did at the hospital. Like, I did a group photo of the doctors that were all part of the care. Mm-hmm. So, they did a photo of, like, the doctors walking down the hallway doing charts and graphs and doctor stuff. Then I photographed that too with their lighting. Mm-hmm. And then when they were done, I got them for a group photo. So, yeah.
Stuff like that is just so fascinating to me because, like, we live in this one section of photography.
I know.
So much. And, I mean, you think there's got to be a lot of similarities with photography and videography, but, like, commercial shoots like that, film productions, like, it is a totally different world.
And they found me through another photographer friend who couldn't do it. So this was kind of one of those, I can't do it. I got requested or just like, check this guy out, recommended. Mm-hmm. And they went through me. I sent them my website, and I straight up said, like, well, I mostly do portraits and weddings. I have done a lot of commercial work through Disney, for Disney. So I was like, I can't show you any of it.
I promise I've done it.
But I have done plenty of marketing and commercial shoots.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, and literally, as I said, just stay out of the video's way. It's a commercial. It's a film shoot. Mm-hmm. So stay out of their way. Use their lights. And, it couldn't have been more easy.
Yeah.
I was like, can I do this full time?
Can I come back tomorrow?
Yeah.
And the day after?
So.
But you couldn't come back tomorrow because that next day you were with me.
I was.
So we did a brand shoot for a printing company here in the Orlando area. And so they do, like, T-shirts, signs for businesses, stickers, like, pretty wide variety of things. And when I do these brand shoots, like, a big thing for me is finding out, it's like I want to become part of their marketing staff, right? Or in a lot of cases, they don't have a marketing staff. So I try to, like, step in that role, finding out, like, who do you want to reach? What sets you apart from your competitors, right. That kind of thing. And so this particular company, like, the thing that sets them apart is kind of their human interaction. They're in a very high traffic area, so they get a lot of walk-ins, and they happily take the walk-ins.
And a unique location, too. Like, a location you wouldn't expect to see a printing, but then, like, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and so they get just a ton of walk-in traffic and convert that to business pretty quickly. But their website still has, like, stock images on the employee
Is it
page.
the construction crane says coming soon?
Right, like, and so we really wanted to highlight them in this shoot.
Yeah.
And they're pretty good on Instagram with taking videos and making reels of their products being produced. But that's always like whoever's working on the product is taking the video and then no one's in the video.
Correct.
And so you're also missing out on seeing their faces.
Or they're at the job location, like putting up a banner.
Right, or installing a car wrap.
So you don't see what they did sometimes, or like the whole process.
Right. So we went in, this was a little different. We did photo and video.
Yeah.
So we did photo and video and vertical video.
And phone, yeah.
So
we were just like 7 tripods. And
we were flexing our brains that day for something different. But basically providing them with the content so that they could then take that and use it for whatever they need. So we didn't edit final videos or final reels for them, but this let them like take that vertical video clip that was already perfect and ready and just add the text to it or string a few together, whatever they needed it for. But it was nice and consistent because we had lighting going on. And, whenever I do these sessions, we're always like batch creating content.
Yeah.
So every like 45 minutes is like, okay, everybody change clothes. Time out, everyone change. And, they actually,
No.
they did go to change. And one of them went to change in like a storage closet.
And locked she didn't get locked in. She just locked herself out.
Like once she left it and the door shut behind her, they didn't know that door locked and they didn't have a key for it.
Because they've never locked it, but they've never gone in there to change.
So
now they know.
Slight delay, but yeah, that was a fun shoot.
It was just very creative because it was like we had so many things to do, but not like we had a schedule of what we wanted to do. But then things were like, well, what if we did this? What if we move this table this way?
Oh, and then they had actual customers walk in,
not know like.
Yeah, and we were just like, can we take pictures of you? And they're like, yeah, sure. And so now they had all of this photo and video footage of them like talking to a real customer, which we could not have planned.
Yeah.
We couldn't have orchestrated that any better.
And it wasn't just printing. They did T-shirts and hats, so they had a sewing machine, like an automated sewing machine. So we did close-ups of that. And the coach, you're looking at like, this stuff is impressive.
Jacob was totally doing the embroidery. He was fascinated.
I was like, can I have one?
Yeah. So
except until you made me. It was at the beginning when we were kind of at the beginning and lots of stuff's happening. So Don's like, hey, can you photograph? Next door, they had done what do you call it when it's on a window but you can see through it?
Like a window cling?
Yeah.
Kinda?
So like you can see there, like it was promoting the business, but you can also see through it both ways.
It's like the Brightline has the wraps on the windows, or like the Skyliner.
Yeah,
at
Disney. Yeah, exactly. So I'm photographing it, and of course, I don't know if you're like this, but you start shooting it, and you're just like, I don't know what this is, but I'm whatever. And then like all of a sudden, I see this woman in the back going like, what the hell are you doing? So of course, then I actually focus on what I'm shooting, not just la 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 la. And I'm like, it's like a great. What is it? It's a kid's like a preschool or like a daycare.
Like a prep school.
Yeah. And here's this weird guy just like in black, like. And so I was like, I'm gonna go this way now.
I don't think I told you this, but they did not keep any of those photos.
Of course they did.
But thanks for taking them and sacrificing yourself.
Done.
Fun times.
That was a good shoot, though. It was a very good shoot.
Yep. Yeah, he just downloaded everything, so I'm excited to keep an eye on their social media to see how they use everything.
Yeah. That hospital commercial should be live in September.
Ooh.
I mean, nothing about it will be me involved, but...
And I'll never see it because I don't have cable.
That's true, too. I don't even know where it's on. I don't know.
Is it a YouTube ad?
Tubi or something? I don't know.
If it's a YouTube ad, I might see it.
Yeah. No, I think it's longer because it's supposed to be the whole story, so...
Oh, like a news segment kind of thing. And I definitely won't see it.
And that's what we shot this week. I won't see it either, so don't worry.
So we have our little pop culture segment.
Pop culture corner. Our not photography corner.
Yeah.
Where we like to talk about anything but.
Yes.
And what'd you choose today?
We are going to talk about our top 5 favorite TV shows of all time.
All time.
And we planned this out, or like we each like wrote down our list.
Yeah, because you can't know.
But we don't know what the other one's gonna say. So I'm gonna let you go first.
We start with number 5.
With number 5.
All right. So this is the newest show on my list.
Uh-huh.
And this show was everything I needed during the beginning of COVID. Mm-hmm. This show made me happy when things seemed dark and gloomy, and so it'll always have a special place in my heart. And you laugh, you cry. Ted Lasso. Even though I don't know if the other seasons have been as strong as the first season, that first season is like imprinted in my mind always.
So
I watch the first season all the time.
We've never seen it. I know, because we don't have Apple TV. And
Okay.
we were just talking about the other day, like, how many things we're starting to miss out on
Yeah.
because we don't have Apple TV.
They're bringing it.
That are, like,
Yeah.
look really good.
Highly recommend.
So, my number 5, I feel like I'm just, like, basic on mine.
Yes, you are.
It's gonna be. I know we're gonna finish this and be
What's
like,
gonna
oh,
be?
I forgot this show. I already could think of one, or I already thought of one, but I don't know where to fit it on my list.
Gilmore Girls.
No,
Okay.
Rude. Okay,
You
so
said
number
basic.
5. It's higher on the list. Number 5 is New Girl.
Never seen it. What? I'm too quirky. I'm not quirky enough. I'm quirky.
What? I love New Girl.
I know.
I mean, Zooey Deschanel is just really funny.
Yeah, she's quirky.
And her and Jack Johnson are just like, I don't know. That's one of my shows. Actually, all of my shows are like rewatch shows for me that I watch them over and over and over again. So,
All right.
yeah, I love New Girl. It just makes me laugh.
The rest of mine, no, not the rest of them. Number 4. I went back and forth between 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough because The Simpsons, if you started from like up to like season 10 or 11,
Mm-hmm.
is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Best show of all time. One of the best shows of all time. But I stopped watching, and it's like season 150. And I've watched some of the newer ones, and this is not funny.
Not the same.
But 30 Rock is a banger from start to finish. So I'm going to go with 30 Rock, but it could be Simpsons. I watched 30 Rock last night going to bed. That's not a joke. The humor in 30 Rock is my humor. It's so dry, quick, and
Yeah.
like most people don't get it. And I quote it all the time, and no one ever gets it.
Okay, so that's one that I did.
Where do you think? Remember, I'm not going to say the joke, but remember when I joke about your shoes?
Yeah.
That is from 30 Rock.
I know it's from 30 Rock. I forgot about it. I did love 30 Rock, but it wasn't ever a rewatch. So I'm like living off of my first memory of
That's fine.
watching it all the way through.
Yeah.
But it was a good one.
You should, and it still holds up. Even more
I need to go
so in
back and
today's
watch
climate.
it.
Like watch Jack now, that you're kind of like, oh. I think people got ideas based on Jack's, like making fun of people.
So, fun fact.
Yeah.
What's his real name?
Alec Baldwin.
No, not Jack. Oh my gosh,
Tina
I
Fey.
forgot. No, the guy
Tracy
that was
Jordan.
Fix It Felix.
Oh, Jack McBride or Jack Bayer.
Yes.
Or
What was
Kenneth.
the Page? Kevin the Page.
Kenneth.
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 Yes.
I watched it last night. Literally, I'm not joking. You think I'm joking? I did not.
But when that show
It was
on,
the episode where they have the baby in Canada, Jack and Liz.
Oh. Well, when that show was on the air,
Yeah.
his sister worked for me.
Oh.
So that was fun.
Okay.
Like, and she didn't tell us this until like
Is
months
there-
in, and then I was like, "Can he come visit us?"
Is there more to the story? Is that
No,
it?
that's it.
Did she look like him?
No,
Because there
not
was a
at
few
all.
times where he dresses a girl in that show,
No,
where
not
like
at all.
when they go to his hometown and it's all just him, but in like different costumes.
No, there was not a lot of family resemblance, but
Alright.
yeah, it was like a big shock. She was like, "Oh yeah, that's my brother," and I was like,
Was she lying to you? I feel like she was
"No,
lying to
she
you.
wasn't.
Okay.
She wasn't."
Was her last
But-
name Bayer?
No,
Okay.
because she was married.
Oh. All right, that was my number
Okay,
4.
my number 4 is Bones.
I watch Bones with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
She liked that show. So I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen enough to know the arc. I know the stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. It's definitely not. It's definitely not a top. It's definitely ridiculous.
It is, but it's one of those like comfort rewatch shows.
Because of
It's
all the
nice.
murder.
But it's nice. I like shows that have like a beginning and end in the episode where you like feel like you accomplished something in the episode.
That's
Which
fair.
it's a
Yeah.
procedural type show, right?
They don't make enough of that where it's like you have a story A to B closes, and there
Yeah.
can still be an overarching season narrative.
Right, but like you
It's
achieve
not like
something.
Game of Thrones where you
and
have
you're-
entire episodes where you're just like, okay, what happened?
Yeah, or where you have to watch like the whole season all at once because otherwise you're going to forget the thread of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like The Mandalorian over a lot of the other Star Wars shows, just because each episode is like its own
It's
story.
not on my list, so you're okay.
It's not on my list either, but
Um,
I was just saying. So yeah,
I'll allow Bones. Not my favorite, but I did watch a lot of it.
Uh-huh.
You know, so
Crystal
I was
gets
forced to
me.
watch it back in the day when I started dating her. The OC.
Ooh.
And I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I hate it too.
But that was just like a classic of
Yeah.
the time.
There's also an episode where like he just learns to play soccer, tries out for soccer one day, and then that's the one episode. And then like and that's it. That's the whole episode. They don't make them like that anymore.
No.
Okay, what are we at? Number 3?
Yes.
Number 3. This is the only show in the history of television that can make me laugh out loud and cry in the same episode.
Ooh. What is it?
It was the early 2000s. Scrubs.
Oh, I forgot about Scrubs. Oh, I did love Scrubs.
Scrubs is phenomenal. I still watch it.
But another one where, like, just pretend the last season didn't happen.
Yeah, well, it's just something different. But the finale is phenomenal. The actual finale of him walking through all the people that he's met, some dead, some alive. Yeah, but Scrubs, man. The episodes, if you know it, My Lunch, where they give the rabies-infected organs to the 3 patients who all die on them.
Oh,
and Dr. Cox has a friggin' mental breakdown, and they're playing the Fray How to Save a Life. Like, gets me every time. But literally the scene before that is Todd, the doctor, doing a thong joke or something. Or like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're like, ha ha ha, and then, like, just in tears bawling. So, love Scrubs. There's rumors that they're about to do either a movie or another reboot. Sounds like it's about to happen, so we'll see.
There's some show coming out on Peacock that's like...
I don't think you can say that. We might have to cut that out. We're not supposed to swear. We're not supposed to say dirty words in this.
But it looks kind of like it's supposed to be Scrubs, but it's like the makers of The Office and the supermarket... whatever show that is, and like... But they're breaking the fourth wall, but it's kind of like Scrubs. It doesn't look good.
And Scrubs still holds up, too, when you rewatch it. Like, there's not jokes that are like, that doesn't make sense as much.
Yeah, or like, you can't say that on network television
30
anymore.
Rock, I will say, 30 Rock does have some jokes that were, at the time, funny, but they reference things that happened at that time, so they don't, like, they don't hit as much. But Scrubs is still good.
So, my number 3 is just, like, a childhood favorite, and it was, like, the first TV show I remember obsessing over, and you're gonna laugh at me. But it was
Buffy.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I know all you females of this age, because I'm married to one.
Why aren't Kristen and I best friends?
I don't know. Call her. When she sees this, you might be. Because I know what's coming on your list.
I mean, you probably know the rest already. But yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was obsessed. We were in middle school, and I think it came out on like a Tuesday. So every Wednesday morning, I was like rushing to school to talk with my friend Melanie, and we would like break down the episode and talk about everything. And I don't even know like how many Buffy books I have. Like,
I've never watched an episode. I've seen the original movie with Luke Perry.
No, they're not the same.
I know they're not the same. I'm just saying that's the only thing I've ever seen.
Also, do you notice what the tying thread is between Buffy and Bones? It's the same
that
male.
guy, that Angel?
Yeah.
David Duchovny?
No.
I know. What is it?
Boreanaz?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was the reason why I started watching Bones.
And you know
then the Deschanel connection to New Girl.
And then the redhead, I remember, what's her name? She was in
Willow,
American Pie.
Allison Hannigan.
Yeah, but everyone was like, oh, she was in American Pie. And that was the first time I'd ever seen her. So I'm like, you don't know who she is? I was like, no. She's the girl from American Pie that says inappropriate things.
Right. About Bandcamp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. I'm okay with that one.
Do you think we have anything in common?
No.
Okay.
I know exactly what your 2 are.
Okay.
Can you guess my number 2? It is not a comedy. It's my most serious drama.
Is it Game of Thrones?
No.
Oh, Lost?
No.
No, not Lost, not Lost. The new one that just came out.
It's not new. It's from late 90s into early 2000s.
Oof, no, I'm not going to know.
An HBO show.
Nope.
About crime in New Jersey, the mob.
Oh, Sopranos. Okay, another one I've never seen.
Let me tell you something. I just did a rewatch of it over the summer by myself when I could. It still holds up.
Yeah.
It's still really good.
My dad loved it.
Even the like kind of the racism and stuff they talk about, it still fits because of who they are in that time. Like, it doesn't feel like ooh now because they're not good people. But man, is it a good show.
Yeah.
And it was violent before like shows got really gory, and it's not super gory, but it's also like they did stuff and then they killed off characters before, like, you know, Game of Thrones was killing off characters, but like not like this. This was like, what? He was like a main character.
Yeah. Well, and I I know my dad liked part of it too because we're from New Jersey, so it was like
yeah. So it was his
you know,
parents
his
and stuff.
neighborhood.
And I know the finale, a lot of people hated it. And I remember watching the finale, being like, again, on live. I think it was on DVR at the time, but still going like, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but they like, it cuts to black. That's how the show ends.
Oh,
And there's a crazy amount of pause between when the credits roll, and so like. So I was like, dude, did our cable just go out? Like, something's wrong. What happened? Because there's this big senior that something's going to happen, cuts to black. And then I follow fan theories, and I am obsessed with the ending because it's so well done. I know exactly what happened now because it's all there. It was shot. If you know now and how the way it was shot and follow it, you're like, this is genius level stuff. So, highly recommend. Number 2, Sopranos.
Shows as you're talking, I'm thinking of more and more shows I should have put on my list. But
I think I know what your number 2 is.
Go ahead.
I think it's Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Because I know what number 1 is.
Yeah. I mean, what's not to love about Gilmore Girls? The other thing too, so like growing up with the whole CW, like that was kind of the popular shows we were all watching. But Gilmore Girls, I remember watching where like my whole family was watching it, and then watching all the reruns, and then like it was a big deal when it was coming to Netflix. Like it was just a family rewatch. Like if we're home like on Thanksgiving, we're probably gonna find a Gilmore Girls episode that's replaying somewhere and everybody's watching it.
I have watched every episode of Gilmore Girls because of my wife. Back in the day too, she watched it and then she got the DVDs. Remember you bought individual boxes?
Oh yeah, we have all the DVDs.
So I definitely watched we watched all the DVDs because it was pretty much over by the time I started watching it. But again, enjoyed it. Not my top favorite, but for what it was, very enjoyed it. My daughter's name is Lorelai. No connection.
Just coincidence.
I don't know if that's connection or not, but and I really liked the Netflix. Except I hated that it ended that, and now we're just gonna be.
I know.
We're not gonna do a new one.
I know. We're not gonna spoil it for anybody, but yeah, it was.
But
it just left you ready for the next episode that didn't exist.
What's Lorelai's mom's name?
Emily.
Emily. She's pregnant. That's how it ended. So, spoiler alert.
But yeah, it just like comfort rewatch. Like Kirk makes me laugh every episode.
He's James Gunn's brother, right?
Yeah, Sean Gunn. Which is exciting when he's in like Guardians.
And it's weird. There's still a lot of people from that show that you see in other shows. You're like, oh, it's the. I saw something in The Mechanic. What's the girl that's the mechanic? Isn't she a mechanic? There's like a.
Gypsy.
Yeah. She's in something. I was like, isn't that the girl mechanic from Gilmore Girls? She's like, it is. So, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the people going into that were like icons.
And who didn't want to live in Star Hollow? Like, everyone wanted to live in Star Hollow.
No, I want to go to Luke Steiner. I did. They did do.
It doesn't exist.
They did there was a coffee shop here in Orlando that did like a Luke Steiner pop-up one day. And it was insane, but you went in and you got your like Luke Steiner mug to drink out of and stuff. It was very fun. Okay, we're down to it.
Do you know my number 1? Of course you do.
Of course not.
You don't know my number 1?
I don't know.
It's the most quotable thing. I always quote.
The Office.
The Office. Come on. I still watch it almost every day. Some version of it.
I feel like that should be on my list too. I need more spots on my list.
Well,
but it's not one that I've rewatched.
You should. It does. I will say, like, some of the stuff is starting to date itself. And get a little bit more cringy. Like, it was funny then, but kind of cringy now. But when it's still, I mean, laugh out loud. I still quote it every day. Every wedding I shoot, I quote it.
He does. I basically, like, anytime we're together, I try to figure out if the couple likes The Office, because then we're done. We're set.
Most of the time I wear Office socks under my black slacks. And if they get it, then I show them. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, my number 1 is Friends.
I know.
Again, like I said, I'm pretty basic. But there are a lot of other ones, like The Good Place.
It was good.
It was good.
But anyways, good, not great.
Friends is favorite. Again, a family favorite. We watched it all together all the time. Friends. My sister and I, we started out like splitting, like because we would ask for the DVDs for Christmas or whatever, and so like she would have season 1 and then I would have season 2 and then she would get season 3 and then we left for college and we're like, we're gonna need to fix this.
For those who don't know what a DVD is, it's a circular disc of information.
Do you still have a DVD player in your house?
No. Well, does a PlayStation? What's the current PlayStation 5?
5.
Does it play DVDs?
I don't know. We have an Xbox 360. That's the only reason we have
Someone
a DVD player.
in chat, tell us, does it play DVDs?
Anyone?
I know it plays Blu-rays, I assume. I wonder if it plays DVDs. I don't
know.
And I do believe I have a Mac. So remember when Apple got rid of their DVD players and you could buy the USB one? I still have that in a drawer somewhere.
But do you have a computer that you could put a USB into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
I have an iMac, so they still do have USB ports. Doesn't know if it's going to work.
Right.
But I don't have any DVDs. So this is a stupid question anyway. I don't have a DVD.
We still have DVDs.
My wife had the Friends box set that was red and you flipped up, and then each season was in this sleeve, and we just put that on. And so Friends is definitely up there. I love Friends. It does bother me that most people don't know what Friends is anymore. So Friends jokes are definitely falling down.
Okay, I had a wedding last week where I was trying to get the guys to understand what I wanted, and I said to the groom, okay, you're gonna be like Joey and Friends and do a little how you doing and
crickets.
Nothing. And crickets. Then minutes later I was like, okay, we're gonna do a flying V like the Mighty Ducks.
Crickets.
Nothing. And I was like, I am getting too
I'm starting to
old.
get some crickets on Office. And that's making me nervous.
then what are you gonna do?
I know, then
your whole
I retire.
ship is gone.
And I retire.
You're gonna have to start watching TikTok.
Oh my god. I'm trying to get Riz and Bussin' and all that stuff, but it just doesn't work. So yeah. But Friends is good. I do like Friends.
Yeah. It's favorite.
All right.
Okay.
We don't know how to end these.
No.
Bye.
Bye.